Welcome to New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union. I'm your host, Sean. Well, tonight is the actual night of the election. As I've said many times before, I record these the night before. I'm trying to keep them more relevant to the news cycle when I bring up politics, which unfortunately are very well linked to the 2A. So what does it look like right now? The election looks like there isn't going to be a huge, big red wave. It may be a little splash. This should not really change anything for you. I say this often, and I mean it. Free men, and I say it, I've defined what I mean by free men. Anyone who's an American U.S. citizen, period. Do not ask permission. And after the last 3 years of COVID crap, of the woke crap, of everything else that's going on, I'm not encouraging you to break the law, but I am encouraging you to do what you basically need to. There is a two-tier justice system in the United States. There seems to be a two-tier election system. And I say that because all the stuff that everybody had blamed one party before, saying that there was all this election malfeasance and stuff, right before this election kicked off, that party flipped and said that it was the safest, or that all those things were valid. So the Democrat Party had originally said that last election was the safest election ever. Now they're saying that every one of the flaws, basically, Crowder got a strike on his YouTube channel, which made him go to Rumble, which made him get even bigger, where he basically had Kari Lake on, and Kari Lake called in to question what was going to happen in Maricopa County because she said the election systems had issues last time, and they highlighted some of those. And damned if it didn't happen the same way today. So it's apparent to me now that while we should still vote to try to affect the masses, in reality, it doesn't matter. My brother said this very succinctly a while back, and I've said it before. I think I mentioned it. What the hell does it matter? Those guys in D.C. don't know our name. The guys in Santa Fe don't know our name. They should. They will eventually, because we have to be active. And what it shows, my county, Northwest New Mexico, San Juan County, had a decent turnout for the Republican side. I say that because the county always votes red, usually. And the preliminary results show that already. Now, we had a libertarian gubernatorial candidate. And a lot of us were paying attention to her. However, there was some reports that she had lost it on social media, and then there was actual evidence to back that up. And anybody that knows that you're going to be a governor in this day and age, you're going to have some stress. So maybe this wasn't Bedoni's time to get there. She'll keep trying, I'm sure. But in the end, what we need to be vigilant for is to guard our God-given rights so that our future generations can have the same freedoms we enjoy now. That means there will come a time you're going to have to take a day off to go protest in Santa Fe if you're in New Mexico. Because if our governor, which it looks like she's going to retain her office, that sucks. I've already expressed how much I enjoy our governor. But Santa Fe and Las Cruces usually decide what happens, or Albuquerque and Las Cruces, I'm sorry, decide what happens in New Mexico. Long story short, look what changes around you. In those Democrat strongholds, that's where the crime stuff happens. In New Mexico, it's Albuquerque. Now it's starting to spread, and we're starting to see it up here. That's where we need to back our law enforcement guys as much as we can, as much as our will allow. And I say that because our local law enforcement guys let us down during the COVID stuff. It's time for them to back out, recognize who they serve, and then we'll back them. But that's where we're at. You know, I mentioned before how marijuana became legal was because it just ignored the law. We're kind of at that same place in the 2A. Because with us falling behind the blue curtain again in the gubernatorial race, which, again, isn't a huge shock. I had a lot of hope, and maybe there's still a little bit of hope because it's still early in the night, that we'd get some change in New Mexico. But I digress. In the end, it really doesn't matter. When they start kicking in doors, if they start kicking in doors, then it's going to matter. What you need to do in the interim is stand your ground. Live your principles. Live your life. When these people come to you and say, hey, this white guy or this brown guy or this or that, ask them why the hell are they bringing race into this at all? You got a problem with the person, have a problem with the person, not the race, not anything with that. You want to have a problem with kids being sexualized, that have the problem with that exactly. You know, I don't know people in the area that had a problem, one, with a drag show until they opened up the possibility that they were going to have little kids there. And at that time, that's not appropriate. You know, the social contract that the left likes to talk about, it's been around forever, but they don't abide by it. And we've made too many concessions. Us normal people. It's time that we rock that boat a little bit. And that means that in the 2A, when they pass stupid laws like they've already tried to do, take for instance the pistol braces for the AR-15 pistols. Those are now registered or going to be a registered item. You're going to have to register it as an NFA item, pay a tax stamp, and do the whole hokey pokey to get that as a Class 3 weapon. At that point, my question is, why don't you just make it an SBR? A short-barreled rifle or a short-barreled shotgun or anything like that. If you're going to do all the paperwork, go all the way, you might as well do that. It's a damn shame that we can't just drop the full auto sear in it if we're already having one of them and it's registered in that damn thing already. But our government doesn't think that far ahead or willing to give us our freedoms back. So now you're forced into a situation. What are you going to do? Millions of those pistol braces have been put out. Millions. Millions of the AR-15 lower receiver have been put out, have went through background checks, or were produced at home with the proper knowledge and tools. which was always legal, always has been legal since the inception of this country. So, are you really at that point? Are we at that point where you have to say, does it matter? They're going to ask for our magazines back. They're going to ban them. Are you going to turn them in? These are questions you need to answer yourself. And the simple fact is, free men don't ask permission. And knowledge of making these items has been demonized, but it's already out there. The 3D printer is a thing, has been a thing for a while. Its technology is getting better by the year. Its material science is getting better by the year. It will not be long before a lot of things are just manufactured at home, because you're going to be able to do it. So our future is already lining out to be a little archaic. We have an authoritarian government who keeps pushing on that authoritarianism, and they're trying to influence culture enough to demonize freedom. And I'm at the point where we don't need to. I'm not going to do it. I am going to stand up and say, no, that's not right. That's not American. And I am proud of my country. And while I am a fan of democracy to some degree, I also know that we're not a pure democracy. We never have been. We're a republic, a democratic republic. And while I may not like the results of some of these things that are happening right now, I live under their banner for now. Which means that I have to abide by the laws that I see as legitimate, real, legal laws. But we each need to have a soul-searching moment here, especially in our culture, because we're getting to that point. We have been at that point for a long time. Like, share, subscribe, be great. God bless the Republic.